Test optional does not mean test blind. Those are two different things, and almost nobody explains the difference. So let me start there. Test optional means the school will consider your application without scores. You don't have to submit them, but if you do submit them, they look at them. Test blind means the school won't look at your scores even if you do send them. The UC system is test blind. Some other schools are too. Those are two completely different rules. Knowing which one applies to each school on your list is the difference between submitting a strong application and submitting one that actually hurts you. This week, we make the test score decision a math problem, not an anxiety problem. Hi, I'm Dr. Heather Case. Welcome to week 10 of From Stressed Out to Standout. This week is new content. There's no source script for this one. It was built from scratch because in 2026, the test score decision is one of the most stressful parts of the application. And almost nobody is teaching students how to think about it clearly. So today, let's get clear. At every test optional school, you have a switch, submit or don't submit. The right setting for that switch is different at every school. Here's how to set it. Every college publishes something called the middle 50% test score range. It's the range that the middle half of the admitted students scored in. The bottom 25% of admitted students scored below the low number, and the top 25% of admitted students scored above the high number. The middle 50% sits right in between. You can find this in the school's common data set, same document we used last week, section C9. Or just search the school name plus middle 50% SAT or middle 50 ACT and you'll find it. Once you have the range, here's the rule of thumb. If your score is at or above the 50th percentile of admitted students, submit your score because your score is a strength. If your score is below the 25th percentile, do not submit your score. Your score will hurt your application. Test optional exists for exactly this reason. If your score is between the 25th and the 50th percentile, it's a judgment call. Look at the rest of your application. Strong essays and strong grades? Maybe you don't submit because your transcript and writing already make your case. Weaker essays or an upward grade trend you want to back up with data? Probably a good idea to submit your scores. That's the framework. 3 zones, 1 decision per school. A few technical details that matter. Superscoring. Most schools will take your best section scores across multiple test dates and combine them into one superscore. So for example, if you took the SAT twice and got a higher math score the first time and a higher reading score the second time, they'll use both. Almost every test optional score does this. Check each school's policy to confirm. Score choice. You get to pick which test dates you send. If you took the SAT 3 times and want to send only the best one, you usually can, but this is important. A few schools require all test scores you've ever taken, so be sure to read the policy at each school on your list. So that means 2 things. 1, don't be afraid to retake the test if you have time. And 2, don't agonize over a low score on a test date that you can choose not to send anyway. One more choice lives inside the test score decision, and most people forget it. SAT or ACT. Colleges accept both equally. Not a single school prefers one over the other. But plenty of students score noticeably higher on one than the other because they're built differently. The ACT moves faster and has a science section. The SAT gives you more time per question. So if you've only ever taken one, Take a free official practice test of the other before you commit. You can find the free official practice tests on each of the testing agencies' websites. Your real test score might just be sitting on the test you haven't even tried. How to choose and how to prep without the stress is its own bonus drop. The no stress guide to taking the SAT and the ACT. Let me tell you about a student I'll call Naima. Naima is first-generation American. Her parents came from Somalia in the 1990s. Her father was an engineer there, but his credentials didn't fully transfer here, so he works in a related field at a lower level. Her mother runs a small business, and both of her parents are deeply invested in her education. Naima is a 3.85 student, debate team captain, and a strong writer. She took the SAT and scored a 1240. Her practice tests were higher, but on the day of the test, she was nervous, and English is not her first language. Combine that with the fact that her older sister scored a 1420, her parents were worried. So we did the math. School 1, McAllister College, middle 50% is 1360 to 1490. Naima's 1240 is below the 25th percentile. This is zone 2, don't submit. School 2, University of Minnesota, middle 50%, 1310 to 1480. Her 1240 is at the top of the lowest 25th percentile. Her transcript was strong and her essays were doing real work, so we decided don't submit. She was comfortable letting the application carry it. School 3, Hamline University, middle 50%, 1030 to 1260. Her 1240 is at the top of the 50th percentile. This is zone 1, submit. Her score is a clear strength here. School 4, University of Wisconsin-Madison, middle 50%, 1370 to 1490. Her 1240 is below the 25th percentile. Zone 2 again, don't submit. School 5, Knox College, middle 50%, 1220 to 1420. Her 1240 is at the low end, but still in the middle 50%. So that was a judgment call. Same student, same score, different decisions. That's a strategy. One important note, test optional for admissions isn't always test optional for scholarships. We'll cover that in week 13. So 3 things to do this week. First, pull up your current list of 15 schools from last week. For each one, find the middle 50% SAT or ACT range and write it down. Second, for each school, write 1 or 3 words next to it. Submit, don't submit, or judgment call. Use the framework. If you don't have a test score yet, use practice test scores or projected scores to do the same exercise. You're getting a sense of where you stand. If your score is just below a threshold for a school you really want, within 50 points on the SAT and within 2 to 3 points on the ACT, consider one more test date. But don't take it again for the schools where you're way below or way above. Retesting should be done strategically. One last thing, your score is one piece of information, not a verdict on you. Not a measure of your intelligence, not a prediction of how you'll do in college. It's a number that captures one test on one day under very specific conditions. Some students test well, some don't. Some of the students I've worked with who tested below average have gone on to be the most successful students I know. The opposite is also true. The test is the test. It is not the student. Use it strategically and don't let it use you. Next week, week 11, we take the list of schools you've been building and we balance it. Likely, target, reach, realistic, aligned, financially honest. That's how lists actually work. So subscribe and I'll see you next week. But before I go, I want to remind you of something very important. You are so much more than your application. Your worth isn't measured by acceptance letters or rejection emails. I want you to know that your story matters. Tell it honestly, tell it bravely, and know that I am always here cheering you on. See you next week.